Hello and welcome to the Manifesting Mindful Magic Minutes podcast. Today, we will be discussing a topic that affects many people, yet is often overlooked, and that is mental terrorism. It can take many forms, including verbal abuse, gaslighting, and manipulation, and can leave lasting emotional scars. In this episode, we will explore the different types of mental terrorism, how to recognize them, and most importantly, how to rise above them and be the bigger person. We will also discuss the possibility of legal action for those who are currently being subjected to mental terrorism. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this important and empowering topic together.
Welcome back to another episode of the Manifesting Mindful Magic Minutes podcast, where we help you harness the power of mindfulness and manifestation to create a life of abundance, joy, and purpose. In today's episode, we will explore the topic of rising above mental terrorist individuals and being the bigger person. Mental terrorism is a term used to describe individuals who intentionally or unintentionally sabotage your mental health and well-being. These individuals may be coworkers, friends, family members, or even strangers. They can be passive-aggressive, manipulative, controlling, or outright abusive. They may criticize, judge, gaslight, or invalidate your thoughts and feelings, leaving you feeling anxious, depressed, and powerless. Mental terrorism refers to a range of harmful behaviors and actions that are aimed at causing emotional distress, fear, and psychological trauma to an individual. Here are some examples of different kinds of mental terrorism. Verbal abuse. This includes using hurtful and demeaning language to attack someone's self-worth, intelligence, or abilities. Gaslighting. This is a form of emotional abuse where the perpetrator manipulates the victim into questioning their own sanity and reality. Cyberbullying. This involves using the internet and social media to harass, intimidate, or threaten someone. Stalking. This is a pattern of behavior where the perpetrator repeatedly follows, harasses, or threatens the victim, causing them to feel fear and anxiety. Psychological manipulation. This involves using tactics such as guilt-tripping, love bombing, or threatening to harm oneself to control and manipulate someone's behavior and emotions. Intimidation. This includes using physical or non-physical means to instill fear and create a sense of powerlessness in the victim. These are just a few examples of the different kinds of mental terrorism that individuals may face in their lives. It's important to recognize these behaviors and take steps to protect yourself and seek support if you are a victim of mental terrorism. Recognizing mental terrorism in others can be challenging, as it often takes on subtle forms and can be difficult to identify. Here are some signs to look out for. Constant criticism. If someone is constantly putting you down or making negative comments about you, your abilities, or your actions, they may be engaging in mental terrorism. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation can take many forms, including guilt-tripping, gaslighting, and withholding affection. If someone is using your emotions to control your behavior, they may be engaging in mental terrorism. Intimidation. Intimidation tactics can be physical or psychological, such as threatening behavior or verbal abuse. If someone is using fear or intimidation to control your actions, they may be engaging in mental terrorism. Undermining your confidence. If someone is constantly undermining your confidence or making you doubt yourself, they may be engaging in mental terrorism. Isolation. Mental terrorists may try to isolate you from friends and family, making it more difficult for you to seek help or support. It is important to note that these behaviors can sometimes be subtle and difficult to identify. However, if you notice a pattern of these behaviors, it may be a sign that you are dealing with a mentally toxic individual. Combating mental terrorism can be challenging, but here are some strategies that can be helpful. Recognize the behavior. The first step in combating mental terrorism is to recognize when it is happening. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings when interacting with someone who is exhibiting these behaviors. Set boundaries. It is important to set boundaries with people who engage in mental terrorism. This means communicating clearly what you will and will not tolerate in your interactions with them. Practice self-care. Dealing with mental terrorism can be emotionally draining, so it's important to take care of yourself. Practice self-care activities that help you relax and reduce stress, such as meditation, exercise, or spending time with supportive friends and family. Seek support. Don't be afraid to seek support from others who can help you deal with the situation. This might include friends, family, or a mental health professional. Reframe your perspective. Rather than allowing the mental terrorism to control your thoughts and emotions, try to reframe your perspective. Focus on your strengths and positive attributes and remind yourself that you are in control of your own thoughts and feelings. Stay positive. Finally, try to stay positive and optimistic. Remember that you can rise above the mental terrorism and be the bigger person. Focus on your goals and aspirations and stay true to your values and beliefs. When faced with mental terrorism, it can be difficult to remain composed and level-headed. However, it's important to remember that responding with aggression or anger will only escalate the situation and potentially make things worse. Here are some strategies to help you be the bigger person in the face of an attack. Take a step back. Before responding to the attack, take a moment to collect yourself and compose your thoughts. This will prevent you from saying something you might regret later and give you time to think through your response. Don't take it personally. Mental terrorism is often a reflection of the attacker's own issues and insecurities. Try not to take the attack personally and instead recognize that it's about them, not you. Respond with empathy. Responding with empathy can help to de-escalate the situation and prevent it from spiraling out of control. Try to see the situation from the attacker's perspective and respond with understanding and compassion. Set boundaries. It's important to set boundaries and let the attacker know that their behavior is not acceptable. This can be done calmly and assertively without attacking back. Seek support. Dealing with mental terrorism can be emotionally taxing, so it's important to seek support from friends, family, or a mental health professional. They can provide a listening ear, offer advice, and help you cope with the situation. Remember, being the bigger person doesn't mean you have to tolerate abusive behavior. It means responding to the attack in a way that is respectful, assertive, and empathetic. By doing so, you can rise above mental terrorism and protect your mental health and well-being. In some cases, legal action can be taken for mental terrorism if it meets the criteria for harassment, stalking, or other criminal behavior. However, proving mental terrorism in a legal sense can be difficult, as it often involves subjective experiences and emotional harm rather than physical harm. If someone believes they are a victim of mental terrorism, they should document any evidence of the behavior, such as texts, emails, or social media posts, and keep a log of any incidents or interactions with the individual. They can also seek support from a therapist or counselor and consider talking to a legal professional who can advise them on their options. If the behavior rises to the level of criminal activity, such as threats or physical harm, individuals can contact law enforcement and file a police report. It's important to note that each jurisdiction may have different laws and regulations around mental terrorism and harassment, so it's best to consult with legal professionals in the relevant area for specific advice. If you are currently experiencing mental terrorism or emotional abuse, please know that you are not alone and you deserve to be safe and respected. Seeking legal help and representation can be a vital step in protecting yourself and ending the abusive behavior. There are trained professionals who can provide you with the necessary support and resources to navigate this difficult situation. Don't hesitate to reach out to a lawyer, counselor, or therapist who specializes in domestic violence and abuse. Remember, you have the right to live your life without fear or intimidation. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. Seek the help and support you need to rise above mental terrorism and live the life you deserve. Here are some relevant affirmations on rising above mental terrorism and being the bigger person. I am strong and resilient, and I will not let mental terrorism bring me down. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions, and I will not let others manipulate me. I choose to rise above the negativity and focus on my own personal growth. I am deserving of respect and kindness, and I will not settle for anything less. I am confident in my abilities, and I trust in my own judgment. I am surrounded by positivity and supportive people who lift me up. I release any attachment to negative energy and only allow positivity into my life. I am capable of handling any situation with grace and poise. I choose to forgive those who have hurt me, but I will not tolerate ongoing mental terrorism. I am grateful for the opportunity to learn and grow from challenging experiences. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Manifesting Mindful Magic Minutes podcast. We hope that you found the information on rising above mental terrorism helpful and informative. Remember, mental terrorism can take many forms, and it's important to recognize these behaviors so you can protect your mental health and well-being. It's also important to remember that you can be the bigger person and rise above these attacks, but if you feel that you need legal help and representation, don't hesitate to reach out to the pertinent authorities. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. And if you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Finally, if you'd like to support us, please consider making a donation to our podcast. Your contributions help us to continue creating quality episodes and reaching more people with our message of mindfulness, personal growth, and self-improvement. You can find the donation link in the episode description. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Manifesting Mindful Magic Minutes podcast. Make it a great day.